I work for the festival. I want to give a brief point about what we are. The festival, the Edinburgh International Festival was formed, as you know, in 1947. We are a curated festival, curated by one man, who is currently Fergus Linehan, who is our festival director. Everything we book is through his eye. He's picked everything we do. We pay for it, we take the ticket income for it. Our general operating expense is about £10 million per year, give and take. The Fringe, also formed in 1947, in the way that people who wanted to be part of that first festival in 47 but were not invited by that festival director just wanted to be a part of the festival, and so the Fringe was immediately formed in 1947, and that is self-sustaining, self-funding, self-promoting. But so we are very much yin and yang organizations in that we are the voice of one man, the Fringe is the voice of every man, and that we really kind of coexist together in that point together. It's our 70th year next year, which is fantastic. I've got a small video which will give you some reaction to our last festival. Can we run that?
1, 2, 3.
The way that it brings the best art from all around the world to us here in Edinburgh, but also celebrates the homegrown talent here at the same time.
Couldn't be more lyrical, more tender.
I think they did the city proud, they did themselves proud, and for the Edinburgh International Festival it was a beautiful moment.
Is there a moon this evening?
Edinburgh is fantastic. It's like whole city is a theater.
This is my home, and this is the single greatest thing in the world. I couldn't imagine being anywhere else in August.
There's an optimism that just replenishes every year, really.
We did it down here at the festival Edinburgh.
It was a good year. So a bit about me and how I came to this position. I am obviously an American. I started my fundraising career working for a juvenile diabetes research foundation. I ran walkathons for them and large-scale galas. So that was taking money from £2, £3 to £1,000, raising about £4 million from both of those sources. I then went on to the National Corporate Theatre Fund, which is an alliance of the 11 regional theaters around the US, raising corporate funds for them. Then went to work for Jazz at Lincoln Center with Wynton Marsalis, running their corporate sponsorship operation and special events for them as well. Them dealing with, I brought MasterCard on as the preferred card of Jazz at Lincoln Center. We did a big deal with Coke, making Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola, the jazz club, in our bar. Cadillac drove Wynton around, so I had a big corporate background in terms of what I did. So when the International Festival came looking, that was my big strength, was to say, oh, I'm gonna bring big corporate sponsorship to Edinburgh, it's gonna be fantastic. Got here, and the crash of 2008 happened almost immediately. So my skill set of what I needed really in terms of building our fundraising effort was the juvenile diabetes and the individual giving sections of what we do. And that's really what we've used to buttress through those years of lean corporate sponsorship and trust in foundations not giving us money. Just to give you an example, I think in the numbers that Louise gave in 2010, in terms of those giving ratios, when I started, our individual giving accounted for 8% of our income. It now accounts for 35% of our income. It's been that big of a spread in the last 8 or 9 years. So it is really, that's how we've managed through this process. I will also say that 3 of the presenters today are funders of the Edinburgh International Festival. So Arts and Business, thank you. The tattoo, we were just talking about this during the break. The tattoo was kind of part of the festival in 1947. There was a presentation of bagpipes and country dancing that spun off into the tattoo in 1950. And as a grandfather, or as the father figure of them. We are a gracious recipient of funding from the Tattoo still. And as we said with Deep Time, that is, we got EventScotland money for that giant project. That was the first year that we'd had a big corporate sponsor in a very long time, and that was with Standard Life. That was a really tricky process of getting back to there. They were a sponsor of us when I started. We threw them some nice parties. We drank champagne. It was pretty much just your standard hospitality kind of sponsorship. That went away. You know, when the crash happened, all of that public entertaining went gone. If you'll remember the stuff at like Wimbledon, the big sporting events, they were behind closed doors, you know, door after door. No one wanted to be seen doing that type of entertaining. But we got back to Standard Life, and they were looking for something that was based in Edinburgh, like we are, emblematic, things that their employees could be proud of, and also the things that brought their employees to Edinburgh, what makes Edinburgh a livable city, and you know, the festivals are kind of part of that. They're also looking for something that had a very broad platform, and with Deep Time, that was live simulcast out when we did it. So we had 27,000 people when we did it live, but then you know, several thousand, I think now hundreds of thousands of people have viewed it online on our YouTube channels, through social media, and that was really important to Standard Life in terms of just eyeballs on. Sponsorship now isn't really philanthropy. Sponsorship is how can we sell stuff to your customer? Full stop with it. It is really measurables and who's seen it, who's gotten it. We did a Krabby sponsorship, which you saw a slide of there, which was Krabby's ginger beer sampled for 7 days in front of our building, giving away 8,000 shots of Krabby's ginger beer. It's a lot. And we sold the product in our bars. We had to report on how many shots they gave away, but then also how much product we sold in the bar. And if it wasn't enough, it would go away, because they really wanted to say, this sampling made this sell happen, went away. So it's those types of corporate, it really is not just, oh, here's some money, put our logo on something. It's really quite full on. So again, in our shift away from that in 2008, our donors, our individual donors, go from 20 pounds to $1 million. I have £1 million donor, and I will not tell you who they are. But those 20-pound donors are important to us still. And the story I always tell is that there's a lovely woman named Leanne Scully who was a 20-pound donor for her lifetime. She was a good time gal. She came to everything. She fell asleep in lots of concerts, had that kind of lipstick that was a bit askew. She liked a creme de menthe frappe, a lot of them. There was a point where someone in our box office would have to go to lunch with Leanne to take her ticket order, and they didn't have to come back to work because they would have drunk so many creme de menthe shot frappes that they were just done. But Leanne passed, and she kept saying, I'm going to leave you something in my will. I'm going to leave you something. Leanne left us £4 million in real estate, which then formed the Leanne Scully Fund that we now have. Look, that was at the height of the Celtic Tiger. It was Irish real estate in Dublin, which we sold for a lot of money in terms of a good circumstance. But that was stewardship and taking care of a donor who was giving us 20 pounds, who ended up giving a lifetime, if not lifetimes amount of pleasure into the future. So I would say always, all of your donors are important. Another example of that is that we had Charles Smith, who was a really nice gentleman who untimely died at 55 this year. He would come into our patrons' lounges. He was about a £1,000 donor with us, and had a heart attack last year, passed, and went to his service where his partner said, we loved coming to the International Festival. We always felt a bit weird in the patrons' lounges because we were in our jeans and there were people in suits and frocks. drinking a glass of wine, but we loved it, and Charles loved it a lot. Charles left us £250,000 in his will as a legacy. So again, with legacy fundraising, it's not going to possibly be now, but you really have to take care of the donor and the visitor during their time, all of them. So they're all important where it went. There's some cautionary tales that I can share. When I came to the festival, someone prior to me and a lot longer prior to me had sold lifetime memberships to the festival. Oh, no, never do this. So I still have probably 35 lifetime members that were sold lifetime memberships 25 years ago, a long while away, when we did not actually run our FENS program, when it was run by an outside organization. Don't do that to your future fundraisers, please, because it's really hard to manage and all in terms of value that. If I can talk a bit about how we how we find our donors, we take a look at our ticket base. They're our active audience. So every year I will take a look at anyone who's bought a ticket from the International Festival, we'll quantify it a couple of ways. We'll say who comes a lot, who buys a lot of tickets, who likes us a lot. I will then put that database through wealth screening and go, okay, who likes us a lot and owns a lot of real estate? And it is truly frightening in this age what you can learn from wealth screening about all of you, frankly, in terms of the public information that is out there and is readily accessible is pretty thorough, frankly. It will list who donors give money to, what their favorite charitable causes are, what their press was, what's the instances where they've been mentioned in the press or in the social magazines, what their real estate holdings are. So that kind of pulls into the picture of where that sets. That can mean nothing, frankly, because someone can be giving lots of money to an animal charity and they love you, but their passion is that. So that's not really ever going to happen. But there is that person who's giving you £1,000 that could be giving you $1 million, and you have to go, okay, well, I should probably invite them to some functions. I should probably be working more closely with this person to feel as though they are part of our organization. And how we work with that is by putting them on the giving ladder. So if the giving ladder starts at £60 for us and goes up to $1 million, there's always that sense that you are trying to move someone up the ladder. And I have a really great American patron who, every time I go to see him to ask him for money, he always reminds me to say, and of course you're going to ask me for more money this year, right? And I say, yes, I will. Because he's really in a teaching mode of saying, you always need to be in the practice of asking for more. And in my experience, I think that people are never offended by asking them, by assuming that they have too much money. It's a flattering thing to go, well, I was thinking about 50, and they'd go, oh no. I was thinking about 30, and you go, okay. Really, I wanted 10, so I've won. But it is that sense of gauging that relationship, and you learn how that works as you get to know these patrons and with how stewardship works. When I started a major gift campaign when I came in 2008, and when I came, I thought a major gift was £10,000. That to me was just, that's a significant gift, it's 10K. It wasn't, it was 3. That's the number that kept getting knocked back to me was 3. I was like, fine. But through stewardship, 3 becomes 5, 5 becomes 10, and in one instance this year, 10 became 250. Like that, in a way that was like, ooh, wow. But it is that the donor is kind of feeling you out, going, kicking the tires a bit. Are you doing what you say? Are you fulfilling? Do they feel valued? Have you thanked them? which is, as Louise says, so important that they feel as though you're appreciative of what they're doing with it. And then how you steward that gift. We were speaking with a company that's now saying that they were talking about how web tickets, I think 75% of our tickets are sold through the web now, but how maybe that wasn't such a good thing, because in the old method, you could say, hey, Mrs. Jones, what do you need? Great, of course I can change those. There was a human interchange of someone, a person speaking to a person. On the web, it's really easy to go delete, delete, delete in terms of emails, any kind of interaction. You kind of need that personal interaction with the donor to get them involved and to make them feel as though they're part of it, and to have the opportunity to say that. So there are entire organizations now that are moving towards stewardship officers, that their entire job is to take 200 or 250 donors and they just steward. That's their job, is to call those people, is to write to those people, who is to take their ticket requests, who is to take care of all of their points of call. Really interesting. There was a picture of Cherry Jones in this that was in our production of Glass Menagerie, and she's a lovely Southern woman. And I was doing something for her, and I said, "No worry, Cherry, let me take care of that." And she went, "No, Christopher, let me just school you on this." She said, "You should say, 'It would be my pleasure to,'" which turns a negative into a positive. And I went, that's amazing, frankly, in that it's not no worry, it's not no, I'll take care of it. It's no, it is our pleasure as an organization to assist, to make your experience better. It was like a real light bulb moment for me where it went on. But the challenge with this is that stewardship takes lots and lots of time and lots of money, and not money, sorry, a lot of man hours. So during the festival, I am manic. Frankly, I go to so many teas, so many coffees. If I drank every glass of wine in my hand, I would be an alcoholic. Because there are some days where it's just, oh, yay, great, fantastic. But that is, I think, really key to it. And the other point around that is that we're starting to invest in stewardship. There's that weird gift aid thing about giving too much, and as you say, champagne, caviar. No, we're not that. But I think as organizations, we need to provide a quality experience in a way that is, we have to draw a fine line between that really cheap bottle of wine, which you wouldn't drink at home, but will pour at parties, where you kind of go, oh, no. Why not serve the better wine that we all want to have a glass of? And some kind of snack or nibble that is easily consumed and is appreciated. I think we're looking at that as an organization of how we do that better with it. And sometimes that is investing just a bit more. And I thought it was going to be this year we upped the quality of wine in our lounges. Our salty snacks are very good. And I thought it was going to be a lot more money, and it really wasn't. But how it's paid back, I will say they drank a lot more wine. First off, those people drank a lot more white wine. But it has paid off in terms of the stewardship point and of us having more points of contact with those donors. So when I go into our 70th year to say, hey, it was 3, how about it 5? It just makes that conversation a bit easier. The other challenge that I'm finding, which I think you probably all will find, is that I have a fantastic festival director who wants to be involved as much as he can. I sometimes overuse him. I think we all tend to go, oh, and you want to meet him? We sometimes need to be a bit more rationing with meeting him, because he's a busy guy. He has a festival to program. He's got a lot more going on to his plate. There is better use of his time, and he's only one person, frankly, and I nearly broke him about halfway through the festival this year in terms of we added the Alan Cumming show, which started at 10:30, and then Alan did a club until 3 a.m. So our day would start at 10 and end at 3. And that for the first 5 days, Fergus was at all of those things, and he finally went, no. He was about to fall over. So it is really making, as Louise said, finding the right person to say the thank you, Sometimes it can be me as Director of Development, sometimes it can be my individual giving person or my corporate person, or it can be my festival director, or it can be my managing director, or my director of finance. Really, it's finding that right person who can make that happen with it. The other thing where I'm trying to do, which I would charge you to do, is our tickets and our experience have value, and we shouldn't be giving it away as much. I think it's the easy thing for us to say is, oh, here's some free tickets, here you go. Where I think, no, I think if they're a donor, they should probably be buying most of their tickets. We can give them a couple if they're sponsoring an event, 2, 4. But in days of yore, it was like 16, 20, that. I think for sponsorship, for corporate sponsorship, yes. For individual giving, no. I think that our tickets have value, and I think our donors should all kind of buy into that their donation is one thing, their buying tickets is something else, and that they both add to the organization. I fight a lot with my marketing department in terms of profile and what we do. I would suggest fighting with your marketing department, because your marketing departments primarily are either selling stuff while you are needing profile and opportunities to engage with a likely donor. So I think that there are opportunities in terms of trying to sell all those tickets to say, hey, have you thought about membership? Or we're doing this education event, or here's a great person who's doing some really cool stuff for us, where it went. It is, I think it's engaging with that. We need to find a healthy balance with selling stuff, advocacy, and our profile as an organization. If you haven't seen it, our profile raising exercise, you probably saw this all over town last year. This is our new brand, our new profile. It was everywhere where it went. And you will continue to see it for 3 years, because we're going through a branding exercise to say, we want you, and I'll cue you in on this, we want you to look at anything that's this color and this font and go, oh, that's the International Festival. That's who that is. You'll get real tired of it. I'm kind of already tired of it already. But we are going through a really interesting branding exercise to say who we are and what we are. And I think that's, with our organizations, we need to be able to do that and look at it and discern who that communication is coming from with it. There's a few more things to talk about. I guess if I can impart on you to say, when you're asking for money, ask for money directly and with no shame. I think, as Louise said, I want money. Not that way, But there's not through the flowery language of saying, if you would consider, if you would thinkly thought of, if you would please. No, I think it's saying, we have this project, we would ask you for X amount of money. Would you consider that, where it went? I think it is really not confrontational, but I think it is, as you say, pride of product, pride of what we do. We're working with Castlebrae High School right now, and I teach a class with kids in terms of public interaction, and I make them ask each other for money, which is fantastic, because it is, or that I started my career in the service industry saying, hi, can I help you? And it's really just that. And in asking for money, it's the same thing where I make them ask each other for money enough to where by the end of it, they can do it quite easily with it. And it's what we need to impart in our staffs and in everyone in our organization, that it's okay to ask for money. It is because we believe in our core product and what we do with it. I think the other is to spend it well and to always say thank you and to say a meaningful thank you in what you do. That's all I got.